Objection.
It was a quiet Sunday morning in a small Indian town. The streets were calm, children were playing near the temple, and the sound of bells mixed with the cool air. Everything looked peaceful, until a man named Raj Mehta walked into the local police station with a strange story. Raj looked tired, his shirt wrinkled, his face pale. He said his wife, Meera, had been missing since last night. He told the officer, "She went out for a walk after dinner and never came back." At first, the police thought it was just a normal missing case. Maybe Meera went to her parents' house after an argument, or maybe she needed some time alone. But something about Raj's voice made the officer uneasy. He was calm, too calm. The police went to Raj's home, a small but neat house at the edge of the town. Everything looked normal. The kitchen light was still on, a cup of tea half finished on the table. Meera's phone was on the bed, her shoes still by the door. Her handbag was missing, but her jewelry box and important papers were untouched. There were no signs of a fight, no broken glass, no blood. It looked as if Meera had just vanished, disappeared into thin air. Neighbors soon gathered outside, whispering in low voices. "She was such a nice woman," one said. "Always smiled, always polite." Another whispered, "But lately she looked worried." Something was wrong. Police officers searched the garden, the backyard, and even the small shed behind the house. Nothing, no footprints, no marks, just silence. When they asked Raj about their last conversation, he said, "We were fine. We had dinner together. She wanted to go for a short walk. That's all." But when police checked the CCTV cameras on the street, they found something strange. There was no footage of Meera leaving the house. Days passed. Posters with Meera's photo appeared on walls, trees, and bus stops. "Missing woman, age 29, last seen near Green Park." The local news started talking about it. Reporters came asking questions. Raj stood in front of the camera, his eyes filled with fake tears. Or maybe real ones. Nobody knew. The police tried everything. They checked hospitals, bus stations, and train platforms. They even called Meera's family, hoping she might be hiding with them. But her parents said she never came home. They were broken, crying on the phone. Meera's best friend, Anita, came forward. She told police something that changed everything. She said, "Meera was scared. She told me, 'If something happens to me, don't believe what Raj says.'" That one sentence made the police look at Raj differently. They called him again for questioning. This time his answers were slow, unsure. He said Meera was under stress, maybe depressed. He said she sometimes talked about leaving the city. But when they checked her phone records, Meera hadn't called anyone new, hadn't booked any ticket, hadn't searched for any new job or house. Nothing. The case started to look darker. Raj became the main suspect, but without proof, the police couldn't arrest him. As days turned into weeks, people slowly forgot. The posters faded, the news stopped talking, and the case became cold. But for Meera's parents, every phone ring brought hope and fear. Her mother often stood by the window at night, waiting, whispering her name. 3 months later, Raj sold the house and moved away. People said he wanted a fresh start. Others said he couldn't live with the memories. Years passed, 3 long years. The story of Meera slowly disappeared from everyone's memory, until one summer afternoon, when a new family moved into Raj's old house. They climbed to the roof to clean the water tank, because the what? The smell was unbearable. When the new tenant opened the tank, a thick, rotten odor filled the air. He thought it was a dead animal. But when he looked closer, something inside made his heart freeze. A hand, thin, pale, and lifeless, floated above the dark water. The man screamed. Neighbors rushed upstairs. Within minutes, the police were there. Cameras flashed, people cried, and the whole street was filled with chaos. The body inside was wrapped in a red sari, old and torn, with a piece of gold bangle still hanging on the wrist. When the police pulled it out, even the officers couldn't hide their shock. It was a human skeleton, but the sari and jewelry made it clear it was a woman. Someone whispered, "Could it be Mira?" The officers remembered the old missing case from 3 years ago. Same house, same woman, same husband, Raj Mehta. It couldn't be a coincidence. The police quickly sealed the house and began a full investigation. The forensic team arrived, collecting every small piece of evidence: strands of hair, bits of cloth, even rust from the tank walls. They estimated the body had been there for more than 2 years. People stood outside the house, whispering in shock. He lived here for 3 years with that body above his head? Someone said, "He drank that same water?" Another added, covering her mouth. The town that had once forgotten Mira now spoke of nothing else. Inspector Arjun Singh, who had handled the missing case years ago, returned to lead the investigation. He still remembered Mira's face from the posters. "I couldn't give her family answers back then," he said quietly. "But now, I will." The first thing the police did was track Raj Mehta. After leaving town, he had moved to another city and opened a small business. He looked surprised when police arrived. He didn't resist, but his face turned pale when they mentioned the tank. "Tank? What tank?" he asked nervously. Arjun looked straight at him. "The one where we found your wife." Raj stayed silent for a long moment. Then he said, "That can't be true. I didn't kill her. Someone is framing me." Back in the old house, the investigation continued. Forensics confirmed the skeleton was indeed Mira's. DNA matched her family's samples. There was no doubt anymore. Mira had been there all along, just a few feet above where Raj had lived. Inside the house, police noticed strange things. The tank's lid had been sealed with cement. Not a normal thing to do. The bathroom tiles near the rooftop stairs were slightly different from the rest, newer as if replaced. It looked like someone had tried to hide something long ago. The inspector questioned the neighbors again. One old lady said she remembered a loud fight on the night Mira disappeared. "I heard shouting and a crash," she said. "But Raj told me they were fine." Another neighbor said Raj was carrying heavy bags to the roof the next morning. Around 4 a.m., when asked, Raj had said he was cleaning the tank. Nobody questioned him back then. The evidence was growing, but the police needed the full story. They found Mira's old diary in a box under the bed. The last few pages told everything: her fear, her loneliness, her wish to leave the house. The final line read, "If I disappear, please don't stop looking for me." Inspector Arjun closed the diary slowly. He now knew this was not an accident. This was murder. Raj was taken into custody. Reporters filled the police station. Cameras flashed again, but this time Raj didn't cry. He just sat silently, staring at the floor, as if the walls were closing in. The case that had once gone cold was now burning hot again. Everyone wanted justice for Mira. Everyone wanted to know what really happened that night, how a husband's love could turn into something so dark. But as the investigation went deeper, new secrets began to rise. Secrets that would shake the town even more. The news spread like fire. Wife's body found in husband's water tank after 3 years. Every TV channel showed Raj Mehta's face. The town that once forgot Mira now whispered her name again. Her picture, smiling and bright, appeared everywhere. But behind that smile was a story still untold. At the police station, Inspector Arjun Singh sat quietly in front of Raj. The clock ticked slowly. Raj kept his eyes on the floor, not speaking. Arjun opened a small notebook. "Raj," he said calmly, "we found your wife's diary. Do you want to tell me what really happened?" Raj looked up, his lips trembling. "I didn't kill her. She left me," he said in a weak voice. "Someone else put her there." Arjun didn't answer. He just placed the diary on the table. "Then tell me why her last words say she was afraid of you." Raj's hands shook. He had no answer. Meanwhile, the investigation team searched for everything from Mira's past. Her friends, co-workers, even her relatives. Each person added a small piece to the puzzle. Her best friend, Anita, arrived at the station carrying a small box. "This was Mira's," she said softly. Inside were old photos, letters, and a flash drive. Arjun plugged it in. The screen showed pictures of Mira smiling at parties, festivals, and family gatherings. But then the last few photos changed. In one, Mira's face looked sad, with a bruise near her eye. In another, she stood near the window, her expression lost. Anita said Mira sent her those pictures 2 days before she vanished. She said she was tired of the fights, Anita whispered. She said Raj had become someone else, angry, jealous, controlling. The police checked Raj's phone records. On the night Mira disappeared, he had made 3 calls, all within 15 minutes. 1 to Mira, 1 to an unknown number, and 1 to his friend Sanjay. Sanjay was soon brought in for questioning. He looked nervous, sweating even before the questions began. "I didn't do anything," he said quickly. "Raj just called me that night, told me Mira left after an argument." He sounded strange. Arjun leaned forward. "Did you go to his house that night?" Sanjay swallowed hard. "No, but—" He asked for my old shovel the next morning. The room went silent. Back at the crime scene, the forensic team found small traces of cement dust behind the tank, mixed with paint from Raj's house. They also found fingerprints on the tank's lid that matched Raj's. Slowly, the truth was taking shape. But Arjun wanted to be sure. He visited Mira's parents in their small village. Her mother showed him old text messages. One said, "Ma, Raj gets angry easily now. I am scared when he drinks." Another said, "He watches me all the time. I feel trapped." Those words broke the inspector's heart. Mira had cried for help long before she disappeared, but no one listened. When Arjun returned, Raj was sitting alone in the cell, humming softly. His calmness was almost chilling. "Why did you keep living in that house?" Arjun asked him. "Knowing she was right above you?" Raj looked at him blankly. "Because nobody ever found her," he said coldly. "So I thought I was safe." Those words confirmed what Arjun already knew. Guilt was eating him from inside. But before he could confess, Raj's lawyer arrived, warning him to stay silent. That night, Arjun sat in his office staring at the tank's photos. Mira's diary lay open on his desk. One line kept echoing in his mind. "He said he loves me, but sometimes his love feels like a cage." The inspector knew this was more than just a murder. It was a story of obsession, fear, and silence, a story buried under layers of lies. But one clue was still missing: the unknown number Raj had called that night. Whoever answered that call might hold the final truth. The summer heat was unforgiving that year. The sun burned over the town, and people complained about the water smelling strange. But no one knew the real reason behind that smell, until one ordinary afternoon turned into a nightmare. The new tenants, a small family of 3, had recently moved into Raj Mehta's old house. They liked the quiet neighborhood and the low rent. The husband, Rakesh, worked as an electrician. His wife, Pooja, stayed at home with their little son. Life was simple, peaceful, and calm, until the water from the taps started turning yellow. At first, they thought the pipes were rusty. Rakesh cleaned the filters, but the odor grew stronger each day. It was a heavy, rotten smell, something that made even boiling water unbearable. Pooja complained, "It smells like something dead." Rakesh climbed to the roof, thinking maybe a bird had fallen into the tank. The lid was sealed tight, covered with a thin layer of cement. Strange, he thought. Why would anyone seal a water tank? He fetched a hammer, broke the cement, and lifted the heavy lid. The moment he did, the air turned thick. A wave of stench hit his face, sharp, foul, and choking. His eyes watered. He leaned closer, trying to see inside, and then froze. Something pale floated in the dark water. It looked like a hand. He screamed so loud that the whole neighborhood rushed upstairs. Pooja came running with their son in her arms, shouting his name. When she looked into the tank, she dropped the bucket she was holding. Her face turned white. "Call the police!" someone shouted from below. Within minutes, sirens echoed across the street. The same police station that had once filed Mira's missing case now surrounded the house again. Inspector Arjun Singh arrived, his face serious, his eyes sharp. The moment he looked inside the tank, he knew. It was her. The team pulled out what remained, A skeleton, wrapped in a faded red sari, tangled with strands of hair. A golden earring still clung to the skull. People gasped. Some cried. Others whispered, remembering Mira's name. The tank was photographed, the house sealed. Reporters rushed to the scene. Cameras flashed. After 3 years, the missing woman's body found in her own home. The headlines screamed that evening. Inside the police van, Arjun stared at the house. He had investigated this same place 3 years ago, searching every corner, questioning every neighbor. And yet the truth had been right there above them, all along, hidden in plain sight. Back at the police station, the forensic team confirmed the worst. The bones were Mira's. Her jewelry, her sari, all matched her missing persons file. The time of death also matched the week she disappeared. It was no mystery now. She had been murdered, and her body dumped in the tank. When Arjun visited Mira's parents, her mother collapsed. Her father held her hand, whispering, "At least now we found her." Their pain was beyond words, the kind of pain that stays forever. The next day, the old neighbors gathered near the house. Some remembered the night of loud voices. Others recalled Raj cleaning the rooftop in the middle of the night. But none of them had imagined something so horrific. Arjun stood near the tank, the stench still hanging in the air. He touched the lid gently, whispering to himself, 3 years of silence, 3 years of lies, and she was here the whole time. That night, as the body was sent for post-mortem, the inspector couldn't sleep. Every detail of the old case haunted him. Raj's calm face, his missing shovel, the strange phone calls, everything now pointed to one truth. Raj Mehta had never reported his wife missing out of guilt. He had done it to hide his crime. But one question still remained unanswered. Why? What had driven him to kill the woman he once loved? Arjun knew the answer was somewhere buried deep, and he was ready to dig it out, no matter how dark it was. The sun was setting behind the police station as Inspector Arjun Singh stared through the interrogation glass. Inside, Raj Mehta sat quietly, hands tied, his eyes empty. The same man who once cried on television for his missing wife now looked like a ghost, silent, cold, and expressionless. Arjun walked in slowly and placed a file on the table. "For 3 years, you lived with her body above your head," he said softly. "Do you ever wonder if she watched you sleep?" Raj didn't move. His hands trembled slightly, but he said nothing. Arjun opened the file. Inside were photos, the water tank, the sari, the jewelry, and Mira's diary. "We found everything," Arjun continued. "The cement on the tank lid matches the mixture used in your bathroom repairs. Your fingerprints are on the lid, and your friend Sanjay says you borrowed his shovel that night. You want to tell me why?" Raj's lips parted, but no words came out. His eyes flickered with fear. "Tell me what happened that night," Arjun pressed, "because the truth is coming out, with or without you." Finally, Raj exhaled. "We fought," he said in a whisper. "That's all. I didn't mean to kill her." Arjun leaned forward. "You fought over what?" Raj hesitated. Then his voice broke. "She wanted to leave me." The silence in the room felt heavy. Arjun said nothing, letting Raj continue. "She said she couldn't live with me anymore," Raj went on, tears forming in his eyes. "She said I was too controlling. She packed her bag that night. I begged her to stay. I told her I'd change, but she wouldn't listen. She said she'd go to her mother's house in the morning." He stopped, shaking his head slowly. "I lost my temper. I shouted. She shouted back. I pushed her. Just once, she fell. She hit her head on the corner of the bed." He covered his face with his hands. "There was so much blood. I didn't know what to do. I tried to wake her up, but she was gone." Arjun's jaw tightened. "So you decided to hide her body?" Raj nodded weakly. "I panicked. I couldn't think. It was midnight. I carried her body upstairs. I thought of burying her in the backyard, but the soil was too hard. Then I saw the tank. It was big, deep. I thought it would hide everything." He wiped his face with trembling hands. "I wrapped her in her sari. I placed her inside. I sealed the lid with cement. The next morning, I told everyone she had gone missing. Arjun closed the file slowly. The truth had finally surfaced, not through evidence alone, but through guilt. When news of Raj's confession broke, the entire town was stunned. People gathered outside the police station, shouting for justice. Reporters crowded the gates. Mira's parents wept silently when they heard. Her mother said she trusted him with her life, and he gave her death. Forensics confirmed everything Raj had said. The wound on Mira's skull matched the sharp edge of their wooden bed. It wasn't planned murder, but what followed after was worse. He had lived in that house for 3 long years, pretending to be innocent, sleeping under the same roof where her soul lingered. In court, Raj tried to defend himself, saying it was an accident. But the judge called it a crime born from anger and cowardice. Raj Mehta was sentenced to life imprisonment. When he heard the verdict, Raj didn't cry. He simply looked down and whispered, "I just wanted her to stay." Inspector Arjun watched as he was taken away in handcuffs. The case was over, but the images stayed in his mind. The tank, the smell, and the diary's final words. "If I disappear, don't stop looking for me." Outside the court, Mira's parents held each other, tears streaming down their faces. The mother said quietly, "Now she can rest." Arjun stood beside them and said softly, "Yes, justice always finds its way, even if it takes time." But deep inside, he knew something. Justice may have come late, but the scars this story left would never fade. The courtroom was silent. Everyone waited for the final judgment. The judge's voice echoed across the hall, steady and clear. Raj Mehta is sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of his wife, Mira Mehta. For a moment, there was a complete stillness. No one moved, no one spoke. Then Mira's mother burst into tears. Her husband held her tightly as reporters rushed forward, microphones flashing, cameras rolling. The story that had once been a mystery was now history. But the pain was still alive. Raj stood there, expressionless, his eyes empty. The officers led him away in handcuffs. As he passed Inspector Arjun Singh, he whispered softly, "It was an accident." "I didn't mean to kill her," Arjun didn't reply. He had heard those words many times before, from many men like Raj. But what followed after the accident was never innocent. Hiding the truth, sealing the tank, lying for years, that was no accident. That was choice. Outside the court, the crowd cheered for justice. But justice, Arjun thought, never truly feels complete. It doesn't bring the dead back. It only closes a door that should never have been opened. That evening, he visited Mira's parents. Their small house was filled with old memories, photos of Mira smiling, medals from school, and a framed picture from her wedding day. Her mother sat silently near the window, holding Mira's diary in her hands. "She was so happy that day," she said, pointing to the photo. "She said Raj was kind, gentle, and different. We believed her. We thought she would be safe." Arjun nodded quietly. He had no words to comfort her. Some wounds don't need words. They just need silence. The next morning, Raj was moved to the central jail. As he entered the gray building, he looked back one last time at the open sky. Maybe he remembered the rooftop, the tank, and the life he had destroyed. Or maybe he remembered Mira's last words before everything went dark. No one knew. Inside his small prison cell, Raj kept a photo of Mira that the police had found in his wallet. Every night he stared at it for hours, whispering her name like a prayer. Guilt, they say, is the longest punishment. And Raj now carried it for life. Meanwhile, Inspector Arjun closed the file one final time. 3 years of silence had ended, but the echoes remained. He looked at the tank photo once more and thought about how easy it is to hide evil behind normal faces. Smiling neighbors, friendly husbands, loving couples. Sometimes the darkest crimes happen behind closed doors. A few months later, the old house where the murder took place was sold again. The new owners cleaned it, painted it, and built a new water tank. But people still said that on quiet nights, they could hear footsteps on the roof and the sound of water dripping. Even when the tap was closed, The locals called it the House of the Missing Wife. Children whispered stories about it during festivals. No one stayed there for long. Every tenant left within a few months, saying they felt something watching them from above. But Mira's parents visited the place once more before moving away. Her mother stood near the gate, looked up at the roof and whispered, "You can rest now, my child. Everyone knows the truth." As they walked away, a soft wind blew, shaking the old mango tree near the wall. A single red sari thread, stuck there for years, loosened and floated into the air, disappearing into the sunset. Arjun watched it from his car, his eyes heavy with emotion. He said softly, "Some stories don't end with death. They end with truth." He started the engine and drove away, leaving behind the house, the memories, and the mystery that had finally been solved. But as the camera fades, the narrator's voice closes the story with one final line. "Love can heal, but it can also destroy. Sometimes the person you trust the most is the one who buries your truth, right where you live." And with that, the story of Mira Mehta, the woman who went missing for 3 years, finally comes to rest.